I met some great comics in Los Angeles, and the best one, and the one who became my friend and hero, was Rodney Dangerfield. Many a night I sat at the back of the Improv, watching Rodney the way a dog watches a man, or a man a god. This guy was the complete package. He looked funny, he talked funny, he even moved funny, tugging at his tie and wiping sweat off his brow. And all the while his comically bulging eyes shifted nervously from side to side. He wrote the best jokes any comic has ever written, but that's news to nobody. I know another side of Rodney. I've got the inside scoop on big-time celebrities, and one of them is Rodney Dangerfield. Soon after meeting Rodney, when he was at the peak of his career, I learned a very distressing truth. And that truth was that success and money mean nothing when it comes to achieving happiness. From an outsider's perspective, it seemed Rodney had everything: money, success, fame. But there was one thing Rodney Dangerfield was never able to attain, and it plagued him his entire life. The ugly little secret in Hollywood was that Rodney Dangerfield never got any respect. Now, I know that's hard to believe, but hear me out. Every story Mr. Dangerfield told me was more heartbreaking than the last. It had all started when he was a child, and his father told him that his dying wish was to have little Rodney sit on his lap. I thought it was such an adorable thing for a father to tell his son. I really did. Until Rodney informed me his dad was sitting in the electric chair at the time. Rodney's mother now had to raise the boy alone and decided to get him a dog. But she didn't think the dog would play with a tot such as Rodney unless she tied a pork chop around the boy's neck. Rodney finally grew up and became a man, but things didn't improve. One time, he recalled, a hooker informed him, "Not tonight, I have a headache, okay?" Imagine hearing that from a prostitute. I told Rodney that when I felt the whole world was against me, I'd find a tavern where a bartender would always lend an understanding ear. But Rodney said he tried that once, and that when he asked the bartender for a double, the bartender brought out a guy who looked just like Rodney. Rodney told me story after story, and each had an identical theme. Rodney Dangerfield, famous, wealthy, comedy superstar, just didn't get any respect. No respect at all. Are you kidding me? I suggested a therapist, and a sad look came into Rodney's rheumy eyes. He had seen one, yes, and the therapist, and I use the term very loosely, said Rodney was crazy. Rodney demanded a second opinion, and the cruel psychiatrist told him that he was ugly as well. I felt so bad for my friend and hero. I wanted to tell him how deeply I respected him, both as a man and as an entertainer, but I knew Rodney would only think I was mocking him. Then one night, I got the most frightening phone call of my life. Rodney had begun to feel that perhaps it was his fault that he never received any respect, and, disconsolate, he decided to end it all. He told me over the phone that in a fit of despair he had swallowed a bottle of sleeping pills. "Rodney," I screamed into the phone, "please listen, you must get to a doctor." "I just left his office, Norm. He told me to have a few drinks, try to get some sleep, all right? Okay." I didn't want to tell Rodney, but I thought that was one of the most disrespectful things I'd ever heard a doctor suggest. But Rodney already knew all too well. When he was away from the spotlight and alone with me, he would tell me his secret truth, all summed up in one sad sentence. "I tell you, Norm, it's a story of my life, all right? I get no respect at all." And so it went with Rodney Dangerfield. It reminded me of that line in the Scriptures, "What doth it profit a man if he gains the whole world, but don't get no respect at all? Are you kidding me?"